Now we move on to the final speaker of our series, Dr. Srinivasa Raghavan, Associate Professor, Developmental Pediatrics Unit at CMC Vellore. An alumnus of JIPMA with a fellowship in Developmental and Behavioral Pediatrics from CMC, he has over 12 years of experience in teaching and is passionate about child nutrition and development. He will speak on the future on their folk, creating a safe food culture for healthy child growth. Sir, we welcome you to take us through your session.
Good afternoon, everyone. And I thank the Food and Beverages section in the GS department for this opportunity. So I'll be talking about how to promote a positive eating behavior among children, especially after Madam having emphasized the importance of balanced diet. I would now be talking about how to bring about this culture in children and some actionable goals for our community. And India is unique in such a way that we have a twin problem of both malnutrition as well as malnutrition, the obesity. And today's talk, I'd be focusing mainly on one end of the spectrum, that is obesity, because that is on the rise. And I'd be talking about what are the reasons of obesity in India. The literature evidence, what does it say? Mainly focused towards two things. One is the poor diet choices and the impact of screen time on our eating behavior. Then we'll be concluding with some possible solutions for fostering eating behavior among children and some actionable goals for CMC community. And the problem statement, obesity, it's quite evident. So India is growing. India is definitely growing in all sense. We are growing as a person. We are growing as a country. And naturally, obesity also is on the rise. But how much is the rise? There is a 10 times increase in risk of obesity in just 4 decades. And this was 2016 data. And I'm sure after the COVID pandemic, this has only amplified further. And when you see the global prevalence of overweight and obesity, you can see India, the prevalence is just around 10%. It is just around 10% in all age group, including boys and girls. But we are definitely catching up on others. And what does estimates say? By around 2030, 1 in 10 obese children will be an Indian. And the problem is more in which age group? 5 to 9 age group is in fact more than 10 to 19 age group. And these children are going to become 10 to 19 in the coming decades. Naturally, they're going to become obese adults later on. So what does this say? We are going to have increasing burden of non-communicable diseases. People are expected to live longer. We are going to have good medical care. We are going to have affluent lives, but we are going to spend more years in poor health. So is obesity good? Things are in abundance, but what does it mean? As Madam already highlighted, there is a hidden hunger in obesity. Things are, they are abundant, but they are not adequate. So people who are obese are consuming a lot of calorie-rich but nutrient-poor diet. And it is very common in children as well. Micronutrient obesity, micronutrient deficiency in obesity is quite proven. Children who are obese are poor on vitamin D, are poor on zinc, are poor on iron as well. And naturally, that impacts the cognition in multifactorial ways. In high-income countries, a BMI at age 3 to 4, meaning whatever BMI child had at 3 to 4 years of age, predicted lower cognitive development, lower processing speed, and reduced brain connectivity. It definitely impacts the cognition as well. And early obesity later on leads to anxiety and depression in later life as well. And obese adolescents are at 34% higher risk of depression compared to non-obese adolescents. And India, where 75% of children are from, and other LMICs, low middle income countries, what are the problems? There is very minimal research on LMICs in preschoolers. We as of yet don't know what the impact will be, but what is predicted? Definitely the trends that are there in high income countries have been shown to be true even in LMICs in obesity studies. For example, obesity in older children, negative consequences on mental health have been replicated in Indian studies as well. And obese children are subjected to bullying and stigma and low self-esteem even in Indian children as well. And I'm sure studies in preschoolers also will follow the same trends that are there in the high income countries. What are some reasons for this increasing obesity? The most important cause is a dietary shift towards processed food. What is the reason for this dietary shift? One, it is convenient. It is easy to get. Second, they're more affordable. Vegetables and fruits, fresh fruits and vegetable cost lot than ultra processed food, is it not? And aggressive marketing of unhealthy option. We are made to consume these by aggressive marketing, and we fall prey to this marketing. And sedentary lifestyles, increase screen time. What are the data say? Only 20% of Indian children meet WHO recommended physical activity levels. So imagine 80% are all having a very sedentary lifestyle. And most important factor that influences child's food choices are parental food choices and parental lifestyle choices. And do we have any dearth of good foods in India? Absolutely no. What does the data show? India is the second largest producer of wheat, rice, and maize. India is the second largest producer of fruits and vegetables in the world. And we are the world's largest producer of pulses. But why still we aren't eating right? It is because of nutritional illiteracy. We are all padicha muttal. We know, but we still don't follow. So despite adequate production, we do not know what is right food. So many parents consider food as just tummy fillers. So what do they rely on? More carbs and more convenience food rather than healthy choices. But are there any further reasons for these poor diet choices? Exploring further, what does research shows? Research across countries has consistently shown that family food availability, what you stock at home, you prepare. And what you prepare, the child will eat. And parental habits and beliefs also influence. They are the major determinants of child's diet choices. And across all ages, parental perceptions are a key influence. So if you have to attend to the child, you have to attend to the parent first. So parents often do not recognize that their diet is of poor quality. That is the first important thing. And second most important reason is an optimism bias. What do they think? They believe that children are less likely to experience negative events to bad food. Chinna vayasdana, he can eat. He's just a young boy. What is wrong if he takes one more thing? Although, so this optimism bias leads on to poor diet choices. But remember, the building blocks of chronic diseases are built in the childhood. Unless the child is made to inculcate good habits, it's not going to come into the adult age group. And mistaken beliefs about foods and nutrition. Health drinks. How many of you have given to your own children? How many of you have consumed this as child? Think about it. So they attend to our, they modify our psyche to think that we are eating healthy, and they sell a poor nutritive food to us. And in high income countries, there are other factors as well. Ready access to ultra processed food and parental rationalization. They think child has a freedom. A child will eat what they will eat. That's all. And in low middle income country, there are other cultural norms as well. One important cultural norm is equating chubbiness to health. Amul baby, no? One very popular term in Tamil is Amul baby. A child who is healthy must look chubby. But chubbiness is ill health that parents don't realize. And economic constraints, as I said, availability, dearth of good quality foods or cost of good quality foods is a constraint. Thereby, family end up giving calorie-rich, low-nutrient foods. And an influence of aggressive marketing, how it can have influence. This is decades old ad. I had to search in the internet to get this ad. This was a newspaper ad about Amul baby. And do you know who is this? And interesting information is she's the sister of Shashi Tharoor. She's Shobha Tharoor Srinivasan, who was a photograph was taken by Shyam Benegal. Shyam Benegal is a known director, no? This family was known to him, and he found this child cute, and he just caught her for an advertisement. And she vouches she has never taken Amul spray in her life. Yeah. So processed foods are sold to us, and they are made cheaper, and we fall prey to it due to intense marketing. And this psyche is still yet to be erased. Parents who have seen this ad in 1990s teach them to their children, and their children are now giving this information to the children. So this information also is heritable, please understand. And now coming on to the most important elephant in the room, screen time. No, we don't pay attention to this important thing. And we'll now try to see how screen time makes us eat bad food. So what happens in a screen distracted child? When a child is distracted during eating, what happens? Studies, what they have shown, they have 2 to 3 times more dopamine release than either activity alone. Eating gives pleasure, screen time gives pleasure. When you combine it, 2 to 3 times more dopamine release. And that experience stays with the child, and that fosters addictive behavior. And thereby what happens? A child consumes 15% larger bites, is chewing 42% less, and 27% reduction in satiety signal. What did ma'am say? One chew for every tooth. So if you have 32 teeth, 32 chews for each bite. No, so children are chewing less. Thereby, they're consuming. They're not consuming the food in a right way. And screen time, what is the problem statement? Is it a big concern? What does studies say? Evidence from high income countries as well as low middle income countries show screens are introduced before age 2. What is the recommendation? Zero screen time until 2 years of age. But that does not happen. Screens are introduced well before age 2. And what are the reasons parents say? They say that the screen keeps them calm. It keeps them occupied. And it is educational. My child learns a lot of these things from the screen. And that promotes early screen use. And parents are very happy because child tends to eat well during distracted feeding, but they don't eat necessarily, they don't eat right. So this is a global public health concern waiting to be addressed. Impact of screen exposure on early childhood nutrition is one big thing that we have to address in the coming days. And what does India stats show? We are probably the world leader in this. So 72% of Indian children aged 5 to 6% use mobile devices during meals, surpassing a global average of 68%. 47 minutes is the average screen time per meal. That's what many parents say. So 3 meals a day, 3 into 47. 47 minutes is the average screen time per meal compared to a global average of 39. And 64% of Indian parents model this behavior, meaning they themselves are watching TV and they're eating. Thereby, they can't have control over their kids. And only 12% of Indian schools think this is an important issue and address it compared to 27% globally. So globally only we are not faring well. And India is faring quite poorly compared to the global stats. Now, delving further, why do parents think screen time is important during mealtime? Everybody knows, no, screen time is harmful. But still, why do they encourage this habit? People try to go and reach out to parents, and qualitative studies have been done. We have to understand the parents' mentality for us to address it. Correct or not? Ma TV பார்க்கக்கூடாது அப்படின்னு போய் சொன்னா mom will think நீ வந்து ஒரு நாள் ஊட்டி போறியா அப்போ தெரியும். That's what the mom will think. Correct? So parents do not have confidence in saying no to screens at mealtime because the child knows where to hit to make it pain. Correct? They'll throw a tantrum just before mealtime, thereby getting the phone. So during meal times, child throws a tantrum and parents have difficulty in saying no to screen at mealtime. That is the most important reason. So children quite well understand and they manipulate parent. And prioritizing to make the child eat that day and managing difficult behavior at meal times, parents find it more important than thinking about long-term complication. Annikinal prachana, that is what is more priority than long-term goals. That is what caregivers think. And caregivers believe children eat more during when they are engaged with the screen engagement. And other issues are also there. Not having a sufficient space. They say no screen in your dining room, but that's the only room they have. What else they'll do? So there are some physical challenges as well. So what is more important message for pediatricians and healthcare professionals are we have to address first-time parents because they are more likely to introduce screen to a child during mealtime than experienced parents. And cultural aspects are also there. We have to address some totally Indian concepts. It happens only in India. Some things are also there. What are there? Responsibility of feeding a child is solely placed on the mother. Have you seen any father feed a child? Very rarely, once in a while, all those. But immense pressure on feeding a child is often laid on the mom. Limited support systems are available for the mom. And mother blaming for a child appearing thin. How many of you have faced it really in your life? It's quite a commonplace. Whoever comes to visit the child, they'll talk about the child's appearance. What I would tell the moms that I see is you talk to them back about themselves. Then they'll start worrying about their weights than the child's weight. Correct? So thin appearance of a child is often mother who is blamed for it. Larger family sizes, working mothers, all those does not give sufficient time for the mom to engage in feeding interaction with the child. But the mother has to be patient, child has to be patient for responsive feeding. But where is the time? That's the practical difficulty. So it's easier said than done to take out screen time away from meal time. As Indian researchers, as Indian healthcare professionals, we should have a nuanced approach to understand these social cultural dynamics, and that is the need of the hour if you have to address it. Now, having understood all this, we know that healthy eating habits are not there, and it is resulting in an obesity pandemic. Now, how are we going to address this? How do we promote healthy eating habit? So we have to always address things with a life course approach. The first priority is encouraging exclusive breastfeeding. Every hospital, every healthcare professional where a child is delivered, the message on exclusive breastfeeding must go on to the parent. Exclusive breastfeeding for 6 months. This intervention alone can reduce obesity risk by 15%. So that for all institutional deliveries, we can easily do it. And complementary feeding. Parent counselors on good complementary feeding practices can be easily trained and kept. Nurse, nutrition counselors, all those. Because responsive feeding is again an important intervention. Many parents who say they have introduced screen time, it is often during complementary feed initiation, because during that stage, a child is fussy and mother has to resort to distracted feeding often. So diverse home cooked foods, importance of diverse home cooked food should be given, because lot of marketing, lot of social media messages mother is getting on what is good food for her infant. So there we have to counter against all this misinformation to deliver the message of good food to the mother. And in older children, the schools and community also have a role. So as ma'am already highlighted, Indian meals, traditionally we were eating good, but somewhere we have lost in somewhere down the line, we have forgotten all those. And what we were doing correct, we are now doing it wrong due to misconceptions. And this is the food plate that madam showed. She showed with cooked foods. I showed it with raw items here. What is more important? Physical activity also is a part of good nutrition. So at least 30 minutes of brisk physical activity for adults and 60 minutes for children and adolescents must be emphasized. That is also a part of the meal plan. And what is the role of parents in preventing obesity in children? First is portion control. குழந்தைக்கு பாசத்தை ஊட்டி வளர்க்கலாம், சோறு ஊட்டி வளர்க்க தேவையில்லை. So diet must be, portion control must be strict. Parents have to make a diet chart and follow it. And healthy eating habits must be fostered from early age. When their taste buds are getting trained, that is the age when you have to catch them and say, this is right food, this is bad food. And no screens during eating can be easily emphasized. Limit availability of high calorie, ultra processed chips and beverage. So the walk down CMC outgate should not pass through Shanti Bakery from now on. Healthier snacks like fruits, nuts, and whole grain snacks should be more fostered rather than ultra high processed food. And promote physical activity. Engage the child in outdoor games, and simple household activity like home chores can be fostered. And avoid these food. All of the popular brands are there. No, high salt, high sugar, high fat, and ultra processed food should be limited. It is time for parents and schools to stand up for their children and stop this aggressive marketing if you have to reverse the trend of obesity and chronic diseases. And practice mindful eating. What is mindful eating? Madam already said. What is the setting for mindful eating? It should be emphasized, because there are a lot of social emotional benefits as well. And food choices. Be a role model for a child. அவங்க அப்பா கீரை சாப்பிட மாட்டாங்க, அதனால அவனும் சாப்பிட மாட்டான். How often have we seen this? So you have to be a role model for the child. Teach children to appreciate traditional dishes and follow millet-based recipes at least on some days a week. And sensory experiences around food is very important. Food is not only about getting the tummies full, taste of the food, smell of the food, texture of the food, all those a child should appreciate when eating. And traditional serving methods like serving on a banana leaf or serving on a steel plate, all those have a value, and try to inculcate all these at home whenever possible. And involve children in serving, and always serve in small quantity. Serve one. If he wants more, the child will ask, because child should know his body awareness. He should know what is his satiety rather than giving all at one and making him, forcing him to finish. Amma கஷ்டப்பட்டு செய்துட்டால சாப்பிட்ற அப்படின்னு emotional torture குழந்தைக்கு கொடுக்கக்கூடாது. And social time. Talk about the day, talk about begin and end the meal with a prayer. All those teaches gratitude to the child apart from eating as well. And what are screen time alternatives? If a child cannot watch screen, what else can he do? The child can be made to have outdoor time. He can have social time. The child can have literacy time. Parents and child can read together. And doing dishes after eating itself will engage the child. So include child in home chores wherever possible as an alternative to screen time. And it's time for India to learn from Japan. Why Japan? Because Japan is the only rich country in the world that got rich without getting fat. Every other country, whichever got affluent, obesity also was rising. But Japan was the only country to beat this trend. Why? Because they focused a lot on their diet. Their diet is simple. They have a lot of fermented food. They have a mix of all cereals and fermented foods like sushi, all those. So mixing good nutrition science and culturally appropriate foods was the key to Japan's success. And it's time India started to learn from Japan. What are they doing right? Japanese school employ nutritionists in every school by law. There is a nutritionist at school who decides what diet a child will take, what diet the teacher also take. That is also important. And children are taught value of healthy ingredients right from early age. Their palates are trained to prefer healthy foods over unhealthy choices. How much is it? Middle school age group children in Japan, when they were shown advertisements of British and American children eating ultra high processed food, the reaction was not wow, yummy. The reaction was yuck. So that is what we have to catch them young for. So this is the difference that I've shown here. This is Japan, in the middle is India, and that side is the other affluent countries. We are trying to take the trend of the affluent countries which are eating ultra high processed food. Rather, we should look towards the east and try to modify our diet plan. So urban affluence drives unhealthy eating, and less physical activity compounds the problem. Thereby, we are slowly catching up with the obesity trend as well. We are slow, but we are definitely steady there. So it is time we acted to reverse this trend. Now, what we as a CMC community can do, our circle of influence is only us. We can't go and influence others. As a CMC community, what actions we can take? One, for our own patients and our own community children, from infancy and toddlerhood, what we can ensure: antenatal lactational counseling and round-the-clock lactational support teams after delivery can be easily made available, can be ensured. Training first-time mothers on techniques of good lactation, it should start from third trimester and it should continue immediately post-delivery. Especially mothers who have undergone cesarean section, it's very difficult for them to sit up and breastfeed their child. What are the positions that they can adopt so that they can also exclusively feed their child, mother feed their child, can be taught to the mothers well in advance and supported immediately after delivery. And we have a good set of CMC schools as well. Does the schools have a role? Yes. Teaching children about correct diet choices by having healthy food choices classes or holding a nutrition awareness week can be a good idea to bring about this culture among children. And concept of healthy and unhealthy food choices, we have to catch them young. So we can start right from CKC itself. And canteens in school offer healthy snack choices only. There'll be no junk food available in the canteen of schools. And a frequent awareness program for parents, children health hazards, all those. And innovatively, schools can also think of giving homework to parents based on screen-free activities. So to sum up, what are the take-home messages? Obesity is on the rise in India, especially in children. Addressing the problem of poor food choices is an urgent priority. Making right food choices, avoiding ultra-processed foods is definitely important. Parental education and aggressive public health campaign to reverse this trend is mandatory. And family mealtime is one way forward, which our community as a whole can start practicing. And parents should plan what the child has to eat, and child should determine how much he has to eat. But what is happening in our homes? The opposite. Child will decide what he'll eat, parents will decide how much he'll eat. So that should be reversed. And mindful eating, especially no screen time during meal times. So thank you for your patience.
Thank you so much, sir, for that thought-provoking and enlightening session. Your talk powerfully highlighted the dual burden many children face today. Thank you once again for your valuable time and inspiring words to prioritize child nutrition as a shared responsibility for a healthier future. Thank you. As we come to the close of this inspiring 3-day journey, our hearts are filled with gratitude, inspiration, and hope. This series would not have been possible without the unwavering support and encouragement from our leadership. We extend our heartfelt thanks to Mr. Rennie Charles, our General Superintendent, and Mr. Dinesh, our Deputy General Superintendent, in charge Food and Beverages Section and Head of Communication Engineering, for their vision, guidance, and constant support in making this power-packed educational series a resounding success.
Let us honor and thank all the visionary speakers who have sown seeds of awareness and transformation in our minds and hearts from day one.
To each of our speakers, thank you for sharing your knowledge and passion. To our organizing team, thank you for your dedication and hard work. And to every participant, thank you for being a part of this journey.
Let us not walk away from the series unchanged. Let this be a turning point in the way we see and consume food. Let us clean out the junk from our plates and from our choices. Let us lead our homes, our cafeterias, and our communities with renewed conviction because say no to junk food, yes to healthy choices. When we eat right, we live right.
Let's keep learning, keep growing, and keep transforming together. Please don't forget to fill the feedback form by scanning the QR code. Kindly have your snacks before you leave. Thank you all once again. Stay healthy, choose wisely, and may God bless you. Thank you.